that, I mean, you have to deal with specific realities in our day-to-day work, right?
Yeah.
So the moment you go to a field, you know you're going to meet reprisals, insults, abuses, and that is the daily reality of the field that I am in. So, yes, sir.
How can I help you?
Amanya n'eddoboozi bampita Dismas Waine. Sebo nva ku Uganda Revenue Authority.
Katoyagala ki?
Have to interface taxpayers on a daily, and they are not always happy to receive me, right? Sebo mbadde nziza okukola assessment ku income tax return yo
bw'omala kituyambe ki? Kubanga enkutu zonna ziri bubi, kituyambe ki?
So we're going back to the biblical days. Taxpayers have always been hated. They've never been like so.
Every month, every week you are here picking taxes. Nothing is being delivered. Tubakoye.
So
as a taxpayer, how does it feel to work in an environment that you know people don't like you at all? How do you handle it?
Bannagina musuubuza alaggewa. Mwaka tubanja omusolo. Labe ekkubo ssebo. Kiki mutukolera? Tunoolera ekkubo eryo taata tuli anfuufu ssebo.
Mandate yange ya correctinga.
Ssente zaffe mubba nzibe. Ngaffe mutukoledde ki ssebo?
My conscience is clear, and I'm doing what I'm doing to add a brick to the great castle that we are trying to build as Uganda. It's your mandate as the citizen of the country.
As a citizen, mutuyambye.
Security kati tosobola kutunda nga tolina security.
Tukukoye by round tuvire.
Tugamba security biki?
Then they may persecute me, but my work is helping so much their lives to be very comfortable. So the understanding of that gives me the urgency to go on. This is a field I am in. I can't just run away.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Profile. Here we talk about underreported stories from different people. This is your host, Miss Elizabeth Makawa, and today we have a distinctive gentleman here who's going to talk to us and tell us more about what he does. I hope you're ready for it. So please tell us, what do you do and who are you? Please explain to us.
Thank you very much, Miss Makawa, for having me here. I'm not usually invited to very many talk shows, but
we are glad to have you here today.
Ella, when you say underreported, I think I'm in the right place, because at least now I'm being reported about.
Yeah,
I trust. My name is Dismas Waine.
Yes.
I am a father of one.
Oh, how is the family?
Well, my wife is home. She's doing well.
Yeah.
She's on. She had a leave altogether. Our little boy had to be taken for the third polio injection.
Wow.
So they are doing well.
That's a responsible gentleman I'm seated with today.
Well, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I'm by profession. I'm a revenue mobilization officer.
Okay.
Yes, and the kind of work that I do as a person is that I'm mostly at the front line of revenue mobilization initiatives within the country, but most notably within the central business district, that is Kampala and all its divisions, and then some of the constituencies surrounding the city, that is Mukono, Wakiso, and the sort. So, so the kind of work that I do as a person is that when I do go out there in the field, mostly I am assessing tax collection for the most part. For example, we have presumptive tax. That is the tax that is paid by small taxpayers, right?
Yes.
Those are taxpayers that are not registered on business income tax, so they do not have TINs mostly and do not file income. So what we do is that we go out there and presume what type of taxes that they should pay, right, for the most part. So we go out there and assess them basing on their stock out details and what they do to see whether people have paid their fair share of taxes, right? And then also we do some tax audits. We try to audit different businesses and see how and whether they have complied to tax obligation. So my work is generally field on field intensive for the most part.
Well, I hope today is your day off because I wouldn't like to be assessed.
I'm not assessing anyone today. I'm here to have a conversation.
Well, I hope to learn more by the time we are done here. So let's get straight into it, Mr. Dismas. Revenue mobilization and tax enforcement causes a lot of tension among people. Why do you think that is?
Well, there are quite a number of ways in which you can look at this altogether, but I'll give you perhaps two perspectives to this.
Yes.
For the most part, you must be in position to understand taxes, what they are and the obligation that they bring. Benjamin Franklin, he was a former statesman in the United States of America and also one of the founding fathers of the USA. That is the biggest democracy, I think the richest nation that we have at the moment, right? He said that there are two things that are certain in life. One of them is taxes and the other is death. Now, taxes are certain because the moment you belong to any social construct, if you belong to a social world altogether, then you have to pay taxes because you are under a social contract. I will get to that in a bit. Yeah, so when it comes to taxes, for the most part, you have to look at the age-old fundamental misalignment that exists between taxpayers and the government that is supposed to be collecting those taxes. I'll break it down.
Okay.
Taxpayers, for the most part, who are mostly traders, even employees, they are looking to maximize their profits. And that one thing that takes away part of their profits are taxes, because you have to get a certain portion of money as levied and instituted by the Constitution, and you pay that money to government. That money is important. Why? Because it helps governments be in position to dispense public service. Because if we don't have good roads, you are not going, your merchandise is not going to travel from the coast to your place where you are, right?
Yes. Right.
And then if we do not have good public services like hospitals, then we cannot export drugs. We see the NDA, their government drugs. Your mother or father in the village might not access good health care. So the government tries as much as possible to be efficient in revenue mobilization in order to dispense public services, while business people are trying to hold on to their profits. So that age-old misalignment of interests creates that we have seen since the inception of the social structure of society.
Okay, so why then do you think people should keep on paying taxes to the country?
Like I say, taxes are very important because if you go back to the formation, to the theory of the formation of the state, how did the state come to be? Why do we have Uganda? Why do we have Africa partitioned and subdivided into 54 states? And these states have governments that run these states. So the theory of the formation of the states, if you read back to the philosophic constructs of men such as John Locke and Thomas Hobbes, they argue, they give theoretical understanding of the formation of the state, where men had to make a social contract. Men within a certain geographical location had to give up some of their powers to have authorities that lead over them. The basic importance of that was to bring about social order. Get what I'm saying here? So in order to allow a running government to provide order, to provide amenities that will help people live in peace, we people that live within a state have to agree to pay certain incentives, pay certain money and non-monetary taxes that have to be levied on us, which can be used by a government within a state in order to provide social amenities that are going to help that state to grow and develop. We pay taxes, roads are constructed, business can go on. We pay taxes, hospitals are constructed, social amenities, public services, schools, we have USCE, we have government schools, have public institutions. Public institutions, for that information, pay much less amount than private institutions. Why? Because they are incentivized by the state. And where does that money come from? It comes from taxes. So taxes are important to run a state. And if you're a person that lives within a state, you must pay taxes to that state. That is why we have customs. We have URA as an entity to collect taxes and levies on different products. So taxes are very intrinsic and important.
Okay, I think like I'm already learning a lot. I'm really gaining from this. So can you please tell us what are your wildest experiences with taxpayers in your field?
You know, the field that I'm in is unique in the sense that, I mean, you have to deal with specific realities in our day-to-day work. I have to interface taxpayers on a day, and they're not always happy to receive me, right?
Yeah.
So the moment you go to a field, you know you're going to meet reprisals, insults, abuses, and that is the daily reality of the field that I am in. It is something that I have to contend with on a daily as a person. And over the years, I've met crazy experiences. At the time, I was in Mukono. I think it was, we're doing a tax audit on a supermarket. You know, they did invertible products. So they're supposed to be registered for VAT. And of recent, they're supposed to use electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solutions. So I'd entered, when I was looking through books, they are stock in and stock out. And they suddenly closed me with inside the shop. I was closed inside a shop, and even the workers were really ganging up against me to beat me as a person. If it hadn't been for the security that I always move with, because I mean that is the reality of the field, that it is known world over. So we were given officers attached to us just for protection. They're always behind the scenes, but when the tension hits up, then they just come to provide the shit as a deterrence. And I was scared, because you have angry people that are getting up against you in a room that is enclosed. So I was saved by a whisker. That is just one bit. I was in Chukuvu for the IFRIS engagement with the taxpayers down there. And we had to be hot on our heels. The people started rising up in arms. Journalists ran away from the room, and I too was there. So it is really not a field for the weak. I mean, these are the daily realities that I interface with each and every day.
So, we're going back to the biblical days. Taxpayers have always been hated. They've never been liked. So, as a taxpayer, how does it feel to work in an environment that you know people don't like you at all? How do you handle it?
Well, there are many different ways you can perceive this. You can have pity on yourself, and you're like, hey, here I am and everyone doesn't hate me. Or you can develop a thick skin and say, here I am. Everyone might not love what I do, but what I do is helping them. So the understanding that I'm contributing so much to the development of community, I'm contributing so much to the free healthcare you get, to the incentivized healthcare, which is you pay money but not a whole amount, that children can go to schools and afford universities because of the work that I do, because of the revenue that I'm mobilizing from the field, that students in the village can be given scholarships. Why? Because there's money that has been realized from taxes in the country, which I participate in hands-on to mobilize throughout the country. So that keeps me going, because I know, even Jesus Christ, the Son of God, was persecuted. So if he was persecuted, but he knew he was doing a good thing, he was doing a good society, then they may persecute me, but my work is helping so much their lives to be very comfortable. So the understanding of that gives me the urgency to go on. This is a field I am in. I can't just run away.
Anyway, so what motivates you to do what you do?
Like I mentioned, really, the fact that I know I'm contributing so much to society. You may not know it, but as much as my conscience is clear and I'm doing what I'm doing to add a brick to the great castle that we are trying to build as Uganda in order to reach that redemptive purpose that we have been called for, I know that is worthwhile. That is something worth doing, worth standing for.
So, people tend to talk about them paying taxes, and their taxes are used poorly by parliamentarians, civil servants. How does this affect the tax compliance when you go out there in the field?
So I think by all measures it is not good to be corrupt. We need to have self-accounting systems. We should double down and crack down on any act of corruption, and should have transparency and proper accountability measures. Only then can we have proper development and better compliance. Thank
you so much for coming. We hope to have you more so that we get to know more about your job and how good it is for the country. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us till the end of the show. This has been Profile. You've had Mr. Dismas Nwaine sharing with us his experience. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for the next episode.